Super body composition. Welcome to day 176 of our Supersize You annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And all this month we're talking about our physical bodies, physical health and well-being, and that area and aspect of our life. So, what the heck does super body composition mean? Our topic today is all about weight versus what we're made of, right? What we're physically composited or made up of. And I can attest to this one. There have been times in my life when I weighed the least, but I was in the most unhealthy, worst shape of my life. And there are times when I've weighed the most, and I thought, oh my God, I never thought the scale would tip this much for my little frame and my little height. But it was because I was working out, I was building muscle, and we all know muscle actually is more dense and weighs more than fat. Yet, it is the sign that we are much healthier than if we have a whole bunch of flab or skinny fat, where I love that expression, skinny fat, meaning you're super skinny, but you're not healthy and you're not having muscle. You've actually dieted and yo-yo dieted back in my day to the point of your body just not responding properly. So how do we decide what to pay attention to? Everybody has a scale, right? I will confess, I get on my scale once a year at my heart doctor's, and maybe once or twice a year just to check in and see, oh, I'm feeling kind of bloated, what's going on? If I'm feeling kind of bloated, I have to think about what have I been doing, and am I doing and participating in the habits that I've selected for myself, or am I slipping a little bit? We all have times where we slip, right? So if you use your scale, I'm going to say use it as just a tracking device. I used to weigh myself every day, sometimes more than once a day, and then I would track it on little graphs, and I was obsessed with my health and my weight. I went through, way too many years of that. I'm not even going to admit how many years of that I went through. And it wasn't very productive, and sometimes I was super healthy, and sometimes I was super unhealthy. I went on one of those protein diets where all you drank or all you ate was liquid protein, I think for like 45 days or something. And I lost a ton of weight, but guess what happened as soon as I stopped doing it? It all popped right back on. So what we're looking more for is the composition of our body. What is our ratio to muscle to weight or muscle to fat? Lean muscle weighs more than a bunch of flab does. I can attest to that in my own experience of tracking my weight over the years too. The scale weight doesn't tell the whole story. It definitely doesn't tell the whole story. It's why when you go to the doctor, they'll weigh you, they'll take your height, but then they do a whole bunch of other things. They look at your blood pressure. Sometimes they'll do blood tests. They'll look at different things. They don't just look at that number and say, oh, it looks like you could lose 30 pounds or so. Thankfully, my doctor's never told me that. You can weigh the same and look totally different. I'm definitely proof of that. And that's for me personally just a habit check in to make sure that I'm following my habits more than what else is going on. Also, there's things we can do to increase our muscle to fat ratio. I'm not going to go into all those here because there's so many. But I challenge you today as our action item to take your measurements and pay more attention to what your actual physical dimensions and measurements are versus what the number on the scale is, right? That number on the scale can motivate us or it can totally deflate us based on what we've decided to believe and what meaning we place on what that number is. I know a lot of people who are super goal oriented, and if they gain even 1 pound, they go into a panic mode, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not healthy. I will admit there were probably times in my life when I was that way, but definitely not anymore. I think as we get older, we get a little bit wiser, or at least I like to think that we do. Today, we're also, in addition to this, so our action item today is to share in the comments below what non-scale victory are you celebrating today? What is something that indicates to you that composition is more important than weight? Share that in the comments below. I want to jump into and talk about our super process today. Select a physical goal, and over the next 5 days, including today, we're going to talk about what it is that we want to achieve, and we're going to apply our super process, the process we came up with in January, to practice every month this year. So we have our own system, our own practice, our own way of achieving goals or dealing with challenges. What I like about the SOAP framework and I like about the super process, both of them are designed to work for good things and to work for challenges and things that we don't like so much. So today we are going to specify our target, and I should have my graphic out, but I don't. I'm tired this week. I've got so much going on. It's not like me, right? I just haven't been getting enough sleep, and I know it. And it's physical month. What happens during physical month? I'm not eating right. I'm not doing my exercises. I'm in a big project, and so that's my excuse, which is not a very good excuse. So we're going to specify our target. What is one thing physically that you want, say, by the end of this year? I like to do the SOAP framework for immediate things, something I want to fix like now, and the super framework, and this is just me, you can use them both interchangeably. The super framework for a goal or an objective I want to achieve by the end of the year. So pick one thing physical that you want to achieve by the end of the year. You can use the SMART goal setting if you want and use that as your framework, or you can pick whatever works for you. I find I just get an idea, I write it down, and that's my goal. And I will admit I haven't done this yet. Because I didn't realize we were doing super and it was so late in the month until I looked at my calendar today and I'm like, oh my God, month's almost over. It's been raining a lot. I think when it rains, it gets me a little off track. So, are you obsessing about the scale and what you weigh? Have you lost weight but also lost muscle? And so you find that even though the number looks good, your clothes don't necessarily fit right, or your clothes are baggy because you're getting more muscle than fat. There's all different ways of looking at it. I challenge you every single day to challenge your own point of view, your own perspective, and your own beliefs. Ask yourself when something starts to upset you, especially when it's happy, just feel more of it. When it's a negative emotion, get curious about it and say, okay, well, why am I feeling that way right now? What's going on? A lot of times we'll find we're comparing ourselves to others. We are thinking we should be in a different situation than we are, or we're just having an off day. Sometimes we have off days. So, and you know what? We never have really off days. We have off moments in our days, and we choose to build those up and make the whole day off. Guess what? We have the power to do the opposite. We have the power to say, okay, well, that just happened. That's not how my day is going to go, and choose different thoughts, choose different emotions, choose different reactions, get different results. All right, that's all I've got today. If I can help you in any way, ask. If you need help, please reach out. I offer it every day, and I think there's probably a handful of days in the last, this is year 9, in the last 9 years where people have actually reached out and said, I just need somebody to bounce this off of. And what I love about those is as soon as they ask, they already know the answer. I don't think I've ever had a call with anyone that had a question or a challenge or a problem that actually didn't already know the answer inside of them. And so I like to just be the sounding board or the mirror. Hey, ask the question and boom, all of a sudden they know exactly what to do. Guess what? It works for me that way too. All right, have an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.